title track of Lorrie Morgan's brand new work. Welcome to Coffee Country and Cody.
Thank you. Good to be here, Bill.
And so which coffee did you decide to go with?
The Black Magic.
Oh.
Black Magic.
Good for you.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm. Already got lipstick on that thing. Right
well,
there.
Of course I do. All my glasses at home, you know. I got to wipe them off before I put them in the dishwasher.
And what struck me about this album and listening to it and looking at the liner notes and reading all that is you've got everybody from Mel Tillis to Bob Dylan to your Don Poitras to your daughter-in-law as writers.
I know.
She was a writer on that song.
Yes, she was. Yes, she is.
That's Ashley Hewitt.
Ashley
People will know
Hewitt,
if they follow
yeah.
you at the Opry. They will hear you often duet with her or introduce her.
Yes, you know, she was my band leader for 3 years, and she just left me this year to go off on her own with the new group Post Monroe. So she's starting her own career, and I sure miss her out there on the road already. But she's going to spread her wings and fly away.
It's great to have you join us this
Thank
morning.
you.
Thank
I'm glad
you.
to be here.
We've been waiting on this for a long time.
I've
New
been
music.
waiting on it a long time.
Because the last, how long since the last full Lorrie Morgan project? Because you and Pam Tillis.
Over 5 years.
Has it been that long?
Yeah. So I was real excited about it, and I hadn't had the desire to go in, Bill, and do anything until.
What happens as an artist when you get to that point in your career where
you cry?
What are
No,
the events?
Well, I had gotten to the point where I wasn't happy with the music I was hearing. I wasn't hearing anything I was excited about recording. And I just had lost my lust for, I don't know, I just got to the point where I was just maybe lost a lot of self-confidence and just in myself and in music. And over the years, I had collected songs that I always thought I would want to record, and they are on this album now. Richard Landis one night called me, my producer, and he said, "Loretta, I'm ready to go in the studio. I need some life about me." And I said, "Well, I'm ready too." And I said, "But you know what, Rich? I want to do this different. I don't want to do it real technical and real. I want it to be more like me and a band in there, and just like the old days, you know, just go in and feel the songs and use the same musicians both days." And they were so wonderful. The musicians, Pomeroy and Steve Henson and those guys were just so into the songs, and you could see the life come, into their faces when we were doing these songs, and it meant a lot, you know.
Do you, psychological question here, do you ask other artists, hey, have you ever been in this spot where you kind of lose that little something
yes.
that you never dreamed in your whole life you could
yes.
possibly lose?
I will tell you that Pam Tillis and I we're very good friends, and we've been on the road together the last 5 years doing our Grits and Glamour tour. And we have found that we have a lot in common, Pam and I.
Because I've heard you say on stage when you guys would introduce each other or share jokes and stories back and forth, that when you were both having hits, just one right after another,
right.
and for a decade or two you were going along and things, that you don't have a chance to really get to know each other.
No.
Because your careers are going in different directions.
That's right.
You got yours, she's got hers, and you don't get to know each other
and
like
we,
you have
since this
with
tour, we've been sharing the same bus, the same band. She won't let me share Matt. I don't understand that, but
Matt Spiker, he did the photography for your album. I talk about a guy who is so multi-talented. When I was looking at the credits,
I'm like,
musicians and vocals and all that, and then I saw photography, Matt Spiker.
Matt, you've missed your calling. I mean, he is a great photographer, and he did, of course, the artwork for the Dos Divas album that Pam and I put out, and this album, and I think he's just spectacular. But we do share a lot of those conversations, a lot of...
Yeah, because you can't be alone in that, in this
no,
business.
It's crazy, and you know, we really connected when we realized we were both, you know, in the same spot and kind of feeling the same thing, and that's when I said, you know what, I'm going in, I'm gonna cut a Grammy album. And I'm gonna go for a Grammy next year on this album, and my whole team's excited. We're going for it. We're shooting for it.
You heard it here. Coffee, Country, and Cody, 650 AM WSM. Give me a setup on this next song that you wanted to make sure we played called Lonely Whiskey.
Man, Lonely Whiskey. Actually, it's one of the new songs that was pitched to me. Liz Marin, who pitches me great songs all the time, she actually played me Lonely Whiskey, and I don't know, something just, it reminded me of old school country song, that just makes you want to sit down and at the bar and just drink. and I said, you know what? That's what got me into this business, you know? I mean, going and playing nightclubs all my youth and young adult life. I was in nightclubs every night playing songs about drinking whiskey and it just seems like they've gotten away from that. It's all about trucks. So
would that have been with your dad early on?
Oh, no.
This was after you were doing your own thing.
I was probably 17, 18 years old after Dad passed away. Yeah, and I was doing, Printer's Alley and the Palace and all that stuff.
And that story about worrying Hal Durham to just absolutely to death to become a member of the Opry.
Bless his heart, he probably went crazy.
Drove him to an early grave.
I drove him to an early grave. But
in what year did he actually make you a member of the Grand?
1984.
So you're celebrating, this is your 32nd year?
I'm going into my 30.
This is 2016 if you went in at 84.
Okay, yeah, 84. Yeah. I'm old as dirt, Bill. Been around since dirt.
This is Lorrie Morgan on 650 AM WSM. Coffee, Country, and Cody with Lonely Whiskey. It's Lonely Whiskey from Lorrie Morgan's brand new work, Letting You Go Slow.
Lonely,
Lonely, yeah, slow.
They go where I say they go.
And you said you kind of felt a Vern Gosdin vibe on that when you first started singing.
Yeah, when I heard Lonely Whiskey, I was like, that sounds like something Vern would cut,
It does.
Some of those great classic songs that he used to do. And, of course, we got a Vern Gosdin cut on the album as well, Is It Raining at Your House? And a song I've been wanting to do for about 12 years.
Your mom, you feature her in a little storyline here for keeping you and the family ways is how you say it. The family always in your prayers.
Yes.
And you talk about your mama, Anna.
My mom is precious. She's 84 and she's hilarious to begin with. And she's gotten to and even if she's listening, she knows she's getting to the point where she gets confused on some things, So I gave her an early copy of this CD and I put it in an old jacket because it was just the printout of the CD. It wasn't together like that, just made off the computers at the office. And I dropped it off to her, and I took the label of I Walk Alone out, and I just put it in the case so she wouldn't scratch it. And I just put it in there, and she was playing it one night. And she called me. I'm hanging pictures at my son's house, and she said, "Now, Lorrie, I can't find any of these songs on the back on this CD." I said, "Mom." She said, "I can't find Mirror, Mirror. I can't find any." I said, "Mom, it's just the CD in the package." And she said, "Well, this don't even sound like you. I think you gave me the wrong CD." I said, "Mom, I didn't give you the wrong CD." She argued with me for like 10 minutes on the phone. She said, "What is this song called Strange? It's not written on the back." She's just serious as she could be.
Did you tell me that's a Patsy Cline thing? Strange?
Strange.
Mel Tillis wrote it.
Mel Tillis wrote it. Yep.
Wow.
Yep.
That was one I was not particularly, I knew I'd heard it before, but I didn't really know where.
Oh, yeah, it's a great song.
Why don't we play it out of the break?
I'd love to. I'd love to.
First thing up out of the break, we've got Lorrie Morgan with us this morning. Letting You Go, ... Slow is the new CD. And where's it available for people who are listening this morning?
Well, it comes out February 12th.
That's this Friday.
And they can order it on Amazon. They can order it iTunes or Lorrie.com. And it comes out this Friday.
Lorrie, Lorrie.com. More in a moment. Making it sound just like the Jordanaires back in Patsy Cline, didn't she? That is Lorrie Morgan, brand new from Letting You Go Slow.
It really is me, Mom. It really is.
Your mother just called during the break. So what went on the other end of the phone? All I could hear was Charlie Brown's school teacher.
She said, I was just seeing what time you were on. I said, I'm on now, Mom.
Somebody called and told her you were on. Is that how that happened?
Yeah.
But you got that Jordanaires thing going on.
Yeah,
and Mel Tillis.
It's kind of like Jordanaires goes jungle, you know?
Yeah.
Kind of jungle style.
Yeah, I can see that.
Mel Tillis, and I love Mel, and of course we all wish Mel a speedy recovery. I just talked to Pam a minute ago, and she said he's doing better, and I always I bug Pam, because we always talk about how far we've come with our lives and what we've come through, you know, and she always says, well, you know, what helped me, Lorrie, is I had a little therapy, and I go, well, I've had a lot, and she says, you know what helped me, and I said, no, she said, well, I figured out it really was his fault, and I go on and say something, and then she starts talking about Mel and how good he's doing, and I always say how hot he is, you know. He's so hot, and she looks at me and goes, ooh, and I go, you're just lucky I'm not your stepmother. And she goes, oh, God, more therapy.
That is the voice of Lorrie Morgan on Coffee, Country, and Cody from 650 AM WSM. You said, did I hear you earlier that it took 2 days to do this?
Yeah, we did
to get the vocals down. Is that right?
No, most of the vocals were track vocals. So
Okay.
we went in and did a little overdub, but the band and I mean, they did everything right then and there. They just loved what they were playing, and it really showed.
Is it hard to know when it's time to let it go and say, okay, it's done. I've probably got a better one in me, or I'm going to sit here all afternoon and tell myself.
I know exactly when it's done.
Do you?
I know exactly when I've.
What kind of feeling do you get when you know, got it? And do you ever take the first take? Have you ever taken a first take?
Oh, yeah.
Have you really?
Yeah, you call Richard Landis right now, he'll tell you.
He referred to you, you said he called you and referred to you as Loretta, which is your first name. Do people call you Loretta rather than Lorrie?
He is the only one, him and my mom, that call me Loretta. And that's all. I don't think I've ever heard him call me Lorrie.
So who are all the Morgan siblings?
Candy, Beth, Liana, Marty, and Lorrie.
And your mother is Anna.
Anna.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And your famous Hall of Fame daddy, Grand Ole Opry star, funny man. I never knew him.
Oh my God.
I feel like I know him because everybody that did know him has shared all those wonderful stories, the ugly list that he created backstage at the
gosh.
Opry.
He had the ugly list. But
and
I
one
want
night,
to tell you.
in case he's listening, Billy Linneman was on there like 3 times on the same
Oh,
ugly
yes.
list.
Yes. Billy Linneman was on a lot, and I'll tell you who made it a lot was Hal Durham.
Tim Thompson found a couple of copies somewhere and brought them and showed me one night.
Really?
You've heard about this.
Well, you know, Stu Phillips' drummer, his name was Paul Russell, and he was just a little bitty, little skeleton-looking guy, sweet as could be. And my dad walked up to him the first night he was at the Opry, and my dad said, hi, and he was so happy to meet Dad. He was like, hi, George Morgan, Paul Russell, and my dad looked at him and said, I believe you're the ugliest SOB I've ever seen in my life. And he said he put him number 1 through 9 with a bullet next week on the ugly list. And Paul said it was the best thing that ever happened. People were coming up to him going, congratulations, you made it. You know, he said, I made so many friends from being on the ugly list.
This, if you're wondering, is what it means to be a part of the Grand Ole Opry family. It's told, oh, that's perfect, by Lorrie Morgan from Letting You Go Slow, which comes out on Friday. Brand new music. Now, there's a rather sultry pose of you.
Yes.
In a big brass bed.
Yes.
With a puppy dog.
That's my dog, Wheezy.
I don't think that's what Bob Dylan had in mind.
I don't think
he wrote,
it is. I don't
lay,
think,
lady, lay across my big brass bed.
I don't think it is. But, you know, he was the closest thing I had to me. So it was either him or Matt Spiker, and Matt was on the other end of the camera.
This is Lorrie Morgan. Lay, lady, lay, Lorrie Morgan on 650 AM WSM. Reggae
Don't you know people are out there going, what in the hell are they playing? Let's call some country reggae.
What's that, Shay? Bob Dylan, line 1? Bob Dylan's on line?
Yeah, hello, Bob. Mr. Dylan.
Well, it comes out Friday, and then on Saturday, you're going to be in Quapaw, Oklahoma at the Downstream Casino Resort. You're off to Manistee, Michigan, Little River Casino, back home to do the Opry on the 23rd. Riverdome at Horseshoe Casino, Bossier City, Louisiana, Marksville, Louisiana at the Paragon Casino. And that'll take you through the early part of March, and you can find out more about where Lorrie's going to be. She's coming to your hometown or nearby at Lorrie.com. Loretta Lynn Morgan, Lorrie Morgan. With How Does It Feel? That's the last thing you hear on this brand new CD. For folks watching on Heartland across the country, we have Lorrie Morgan here with Letting You Go Slow, or perhaps this Lorrie Morgan shot. This is the back cover. Matt Spiker's a lucky man to get to spend the day shooting you lying in your
we
big
laughed the whole day.
Your big brass bed there. And here's that. And then I like that one.
Yeah, I like that one too.
Yeah. So... Oh, the guys what? Guys at Heartland, they like this one? This one wins?
Voted for that.
I kind of thought maybe they did. Lorrie Morgan, you have said, I have been a daughter, a bride, a mother, a divorcee, a widow, a single mother, a grandmother, a breadwinner, and ultimately, a survivor.
It takes a lot to survive, you know? I figured out this world is not for sissies, you know, and ultimately, you do have to be a survivor. You do. I mean, you take a lot of hard knocks in this business and in the world, period. And, you know, there's no place for sissies. You gotta pull them boots up and get on going.
Is the biggest disconnect for fans the fact that they have you on in this case, on a CD, on an album, a cassette, an 8-track, you know, whatever the format, you go back. But they have that. They see you in concert at your best, looking your best, sounding your best on any given night, but have no idea really what goes into an artist's day-to-day life.
No, they really
especially
don't.
When you're on a roll, when you're hot, and everybody.
Yeah. And, you know, I used to have, there was a lady who came to one of my shows one time, and they said, here she comes off the bus, and this lady went, of course she looks great. She's got somebody to do her hair and her makeup. And I looked at her and said, lady, I can't afford that. I did it myself today. This is me, you know. I'm back there working myself to death to look this way for you. But, you know, I mean, you know, day to day at home, I mean, I'm just like everybody else. I'm running the vacuum, cleaning up dog puke. I mean, you know, seriously. I mean, Randy and I work all the time at the house, and God love him, he's just as he gets in there just as right along with me and does everything. So, who
during those rough spots in an artist's career for you, who was the person who gave you the advice that still lingers, that still lasts? Was it your dad? Was it somebody at the Opry? Who would it have been? Is there a person or
during the
moment
tough
in time? Yeah. How to handle those tough times and what it's like when everybody's pulling at you. And
I'm going to be honest. My old friend Kenny Rogers told me one time. He said I had called him. I had just got to the point where we were gone all the time, and I was lonely. I found myself lonely because the band and I would have so much fun. And we'd go on stage, and they'd bring me off stage. The curtain would come down, and they'd just put me in the bus and lock me up while they stripped down, you know, took everything down. And I would find myself sitting there going, oh, my God, I went from this really high to
euphoria.
This, to this total low. And Kenny told me one time, he said, the best advice I can give you is get somebody that is your friend to travel with you on the road. Somebody's there to, you know, when you get on the bus, to have a sandwich with, to laugh with, somebody who keeps your mind from thinking where you're at. He said that's how a lot of people get involved in, you know, their uppers and their downers. And I've been very fortunate that I've had people around me that have really kept me laughing and you know, keep my mind from being in that that down state when I come off stage.
Lorrie Morgan, an hour is just not enough, but thank you for the hour you've given us.
Oh,
this
have I
morning.
given you an hour
You
already?
have.
Wow.
You have. We need to follow up.
Yes.
Part 2.
Part 2. I got so many parts, it's not even funny.
That's the perfect way to close. Lorrie Morgan, letting you go slow wherever you buy or download music on Friday. I love you. Thank you.
Thank you, Bill. I love you too.
The Legend, 650 AM, WSM.